God is watching us from a distance, as the words so beautifully sung by Latrice stated. The ocean meets the stream, the eagle takes flight, and there is harmony. It echoes through the land. It is the voice of hope. It is the voice of peace. It is the voice of every man and woman. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. There are no guns, no bombs, disease, or hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments marching in a common band, playing songs of hope, of peace. God is watching us from a distance. We just heard these beautiful words, and this combined with the song from last night, When You Believe, and today's From a Distance, God is watching us. This all heralds back to a simpler time. And yet here we are, years later, needing to hear the same message and in quite possibly a worse state of affairs. At this time of our Yamim Noraim, make no mistake, God is watching us. There is some entity in the universe that is keeping track of our actions, both good and bad. We are meant to be instruments marching in a common band and not only playing songs of hope and peace, but being the instrument toward actualizing the harmony we are all meant to coexist within. Not just us here in our little corner of the world, but throughout the globe. The song goes on to state, from a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting is for. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the hope of hopes, the love of loves. It is the heart of every man and woman. At this time, God searches the heart of every man and woman to see exactly where we are in our journey, to measure our merit and to determine whether we merit renewal, redemption, and yes, maybe even another year for a chance to make things right. Some may question if there is actually even a God, especially when things are so incredibly bad. It's important to remember that we have the ability to bring peace, bring hope and harmony, or we have the ability to create chaos. Our actions are like a cascading waterfall. Our actions merge together to make a stream that can be filled with nourishment and blessing, or deadly rapids. To some, this may just be a song. However, in Judaism, there is a lot of text and commentary about how God is actually watching us. In the Hasidic interpretation, the world is continuously recreated by God at every single moment. Without this constant flow of divine energy, everything would revert to nothingness. This constant presence is considered to be an active form of watching. Kabbalah states that there is a divine essence within all things, teaching that every object, whether animate or inanimate, contains a divine spark. This spark, called nitzot, fuels the divine light and animates divine will, meaning that God is actually present within all creation. The universe itself has within it a system for checks and balances in the process of our own evolution and our tikkun. We are meant to know that. There is a higher purpose within every detail of our lives. So in this context, watching isn't about a divine being taking passive notes. Instead, the divine is actively involved in unfolding its purpose in every detail, even in moments that appear chaotic. The ultimate goal is for humans to recognize this hidden hand of God and to see the divine purpose behind every experience, both good and bad. The question is, how many are even thinking that there is some kind of accountability that we have to something higher and greater than ourselves? Even an accountability to each other, or even an accountability to our planet. Today is considered the birthday of the world, so how can we truly celebrate and take ownership of it if we can't even take ownership of ourselves? Hebrew National Hot Dogs used to advertise that they answer to a higher authority. So people think they are kosher. But to one who actually observes kashrut, guess what? They are not. There is a system and an order in place that follows specific laws, and if not adhered to, certification is not allowed. In a sense, we are being reviewed. Just as many of you may have had to become certified in something, or to become a lawyer, or even a rabbi, there is an accountability for the lessons learned and a grading system. Why shouldn't there be for God, for some divine force in the universe? So in Kabbalah, God watching us is a reference to a deep, encompassing, and purposeful divine omnipresence and providence. You have heard me speak many times of the Shekhinah. This is God's eminent dwelling presence that makes the divine accessible in our physical world, overseeing every single detail of our existence as a part of a purposeful divine plan. Ultimately, though, through these multiple sources, we find that we are each involved in the continuous process, whether we realize it or not, of recreation. God is constantly sustaining and recreating the universe, making sure that nothing is devoid of divinity. It may not feel like it or seem like it, but divinity is around us always. All we need to do is look at the beautiful ocean before us today when we go to Tashlik and feel the presence of something greater than ourselves. The divine source that created all there is created us, and we are one. We have that power and that divinity within us. We just need to recognize that and do the work to stay in alignment. Yes, it's a process, and we may sway forward and back again and again, but that is a part of the divine process. It is through that dance that the harmony is achieved. The obstacles and the chaos that we create have lessons within them for us to learn. Humanity has been set up to evolve through this process of tikkun, or karma, as some might think. It is looking back through the lens of life that affords us the possibility to actually move forward. If we see the lessons for what they actually are, lessons, and learn from them. Adam Lieberman, in his commentary from Parsha Re'eh to See, speaks of the lessons which were imparted to us from the beginning of our development as a Jewish people. He says that Moses tells the Jewish people additional commandments that they need to follow, and then implores upon them to do what is good and right in the eyes of God. When Moses told the Jews to do what is good and right in the eyes of God, he was teaching us all a life-changing insight. God is everywhere. He's right next to us, or she right now. Maybe when we're walking down the street, maybe when we go out to our car, sits right next to us at home or at work or at play. There isn't a foot of space in which God is not completely and totally present and aware of everything that is being said and done. When it comes to God's presence, there's no such thing as privacy. God is always there. He goes on to state, we live in a society where we care enormously about what other people think about us. Whether we are aware of it or not, the things we say, the clothes we wear, and the places we shop are influenced largely by the perception that we want to give to others. This is precisely why in public, we might act one way towards someone, but in private, outside the watchful eyes of those we so much want to impress, we will act in a completely different way. How many of you know people like that? They're one way here, they're one way there. Then he gives an amazing, and I really want you to think about this as you leave here and go through life, this amazing, very relatable example. He speaks of the huge Jumbotron screen in Times Square. How many have seen that? Whether in person or on TV at New Year's, thousands of people, some as far as 20 city blocks away, can see whatever images are displayed on this screen. What if you lived your life as though it was being shown live on the Jumbotron? How much different would you act if everything you did was being broadcast in real time on this giant screen? That's exactly the powerful message that God is teaching us. We are on the screen and God is observing everything. So the lesson to be learned here is to live life like we're being watched. Forget about what everyone else may think and focus only on ourselves in relation to the divine, and focus on our own divinity, which is inside. Concern ourselves with impressing the one who truly wants us to become great, that has our best and highest interests at heart, that wants us to be everything we are meant to be and to have everything that is meant for us in this lifetime by striving to do what is good and right in the eyes of God. In Psalm 121, we constantly read of how God is like a watchful guardian who neither slumbers nor sleeps. This gives us all the human responsibility to act with moral integrity as if we are constantly being observed. This is meant to motivate us to pursue ethical behavior and promote a deeper connection with the divine, and by doing so, foster a sense of accountability, essentially living in accordance with God's divine will. We are to know that God is aware of everything that happens, seen and unseen, that God is not passive, but actively engaged with us, our actions, and the world, and as such is always there, offering protection and guidance if we want it, if we ask for it, just as a parent with a child. So when we sing Avinu Malkeinu throughout these holy days, we need to make the connection that this is not just rhetoric, but an exchange between a parent and a child. We are beseeching God, our ultimate parent, to have compassion and mercy upon our mistakes and measure judgment of how our lessons were perceived and how we learned from them, or not. We are all in the process of becoming. We are all going to make mistakes. As we have said over and over again, it's really the only way to learn and move forward. So the question is, do we have to destroy ourselves in the process? It is written that the Satan angel is always watching us, along with the other angels, with which we actually have some favor. So ultimately, God even has helpers watching us. So if we want to do what is good and right in the eyes of God, make no mistake, these angels are keeping score. It is especially said on Shabbat. That's why we sing Shalom Aleichem. Let us take continued stock of ourselves and our process of teshuvah. Let our repentance unfold as we evaluate how our actions and our deeds and our speech might be evaluated if on the Jumbotron for the entire world, not to mention for God to see. Let us be messengers of hope and peace through our individual actions and deeds. mindful of our mistakes along the way, but ever aware that a higher source is evaluating our alignment with the divinity that can be found within and around. It is the process. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to mess up because God is watching. But if we learn, and it is said, you ask 3 times. If something went, and if someone, you ask for forgiveness or you grant forgiveness, it has to be done 3 times. Technically, if someone wants to convert, they're supposed to come to you 3 times. This number 3, what do we say? It creates order out of the chaos. So if it takes us 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 20 times, but eventually get it, that is what God is watching for. And it is said, if you make a mistake, it isn't true repentance until you are presented with that same opportunity to sin or make a mistake again, and you do it differently. You make a different choice. That is when the true teshuvah has happened. So we are meant to know that this knowledge that we receive is meant to help promote an inner conscience, self-awareness, correction, and the ability to perceive right from wrong and act accordingly. And understanding that that feeling of being watched by God can inspire us to act with integrity, dignity, and honor in everything we say and do. The goal here is not to feel uneasy or create a feeling of insecurity or even paranoia, but quite actually, it's meant to do the opposite. To know that we can find comfort and care in the protection that God offers, and the sense of security that we can feel, particularly during times of hardship, uncertainty, challenge, or fear. We are meant to know that we, as humans, have the ability to connect to the divine as a force or ultimate parent who can offer counsel and support at any point in our life journey. This is truly all that God asks of us: to do good, to be kind, to grow, to make mistakes, to learn, evolve, make some more mistakes, stumble, fall, get back up, so that he or she can be our rock, our redeemer, and our co-partner in it all. The problem is that too many people are taking life into their own hands, and they're being instruments of hatred, destruction, chaos, and ruin. As we continue through these Yomim Noraim in the days, weeks, months ahead, let us at least do our part to be aware, to live as Moses commanded, to do good in the eyes of God, and to be ever mindful of how our actions and our words could be perceived on the great Jumbotron of life. May God watch over us and see all the good that we do individually and collectively. May God see how hard we try, even if we falter. And may God be there always as our guardian and our protector, our judge and our redeemer. And let us say, Amen.